There comes a time when the walls of our home begin to feel different. In youth, they stand as symbols of independence and strength. But as the years pass, those same walls can quietly turn into barriers. They keep us safe, yes, but they can also keep us apart. Loneliness doesn't always arrive with a loud knock. It slips in gently, often unnoticed, until one day you realize you've gone an entire week without a real conversation. And yet the beautiful truth is that these same walls can protect and connect us if only we choose to open the door, even just a little. As we grow older, the heart hungers not only for routine and safety, but also for the warmth of connection. You may have felt that longing yourself, a sense that while solitude has its comforts, it is shared moments that give life its richest colors. A wave across the yard, a simple good morning in the hallway, or even the sound of laughter from next door can remind you that you are not traveling this road alone. It's easy to think that independence means handling everything by yourself. But have you noticed how sometimes even the strongest independence feels lighter when it is gently supported by others? That doesn't mean losing your dignity. It means acknowledging that true strength often comes from allowing others into your daily life. Think of it this way. When you let a neighbor help you carry a bag, or when you offer a kind word in return, it's not just about tasks. It's about weaving a net of care that catches us all when life feels heavy. Maybe you've asked yourself quietly, is it too late to start knowing the people around me? I want to reassure you, it's never too late. Relationships at this stage of life don't need to be grand or complicated. They can be as simple as a nod at the mailbox or a shared smile on the sidewalk. The smallest gestures often become the beginnings of something that warms both sides. The truth is, aging is not about closing doors, but about opening them more wisely. Every wrinkle, every slower step is a reminder not of what we've lost, but of what we've gained. The wisdom to see that joy often lives in the spaces between us. It lives in the neighbor who notices your light is still on at night, or the one who brings over soup because they made too much. These are not small things. They are life itself, showing up in simple forms. So I invite you to reflect gently. How do your walls feel today? Do they feel protective, or do they feel a little isolating? What might shift if you allowed them to shelter not only you, but also the beginnings of connection? I'd love to hear from you. Where do you live, and do you know your neighbors? Sometimes the biggest changes begin with the smallest acts. You don't need to plan a big event or knock on every door to feel closer to the people around you. In fact, it's often the little gestures that open hearts. I think of Clara, who is now 81. She once told me that after her husband passed away, she felt the days stretching longer and quieter. She didn't know how to reach out, but she began putting a chair just outside her door each morning. She'd sit for a few minutes with her cup of tea, sometimes simply watching the world go by. At first, neighbors only passed with a polite smile, but then someone stopped to ask how she was doing. A week later, another neighbor brought her a fresh loaf of bread. One afternoon, a teenager returning from school offered to help her carry her groceries inside. Clara told me, "That chair became my bridge." What she meant was simple. By being visible and open, she gave others a chance to approach her. It didn't happen overnight, but slowly she became part of a living rhythm of give and take with the people nearby. You may feel hesitant to make the first move, and that's understandable. But think of how many doors in life opened for you when you took just a small step. Here, too, it can begin with something easy and gentle. Water your flowers where others can see you. Sit outside with a book, or leave your door slightly open when you're at home. These small signals tell others, "I'm here and I'm open to connection." Once you feel ready, you can take the next step, sharing a little extra soup, offering a magazine you've already finished, or simply asking someone if they'd like help with a package. These things may sound ordinary, but in truth they are extraordinary. They remind both you and your neighbor that life is easier and brighter when carried together. And just as important as giving is receiving. Sometimes letting someone else help you is the real gift because it allows them to feel useful and connected. So perhaps ask yourself gently, What's one small gesture you might try this week? Could you greet someone at the mailbox, or share a piece of fruit, or simply pause long enough for a short conversation? You don't need to do it all at once. The beauty is in the gradual unfolding, the little moments that build into trust. If you're finding these reflections meaningful, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next steps. Because what begins as a simple hello can blossom into the kind of support that nourishes both body and soul. Lower stress means your blood pressure stays steadier, your heart doesn't have to work as hard, and your immune system can function more effectively. Studies have shown that people in their 70s and 80s who maintain social bonds tend to recover faster from illness, sleep better, and even experience sharper memory than those who remain isolated. The mind and body are not separate. They are threads of the same fabric, and connection is one of the strongest fibers holding it all together. Have you ever noticed how after a short conversation, your mood shifts, almost like a weight has been lifted from your shoulders? That is not just in your imagination, it is your nervous system finding balance again. Even 5 minutes of laughter or gentle listening can soothe anxiety that has quietly built up over the day. And when someone notices you, asks how you are, comments on your garden, or even waves from across the street, it reassures the deepest part of you. I matter. I am seen. These signals of belonging are essential at every age, but they become even more precious as the years go on. Sometimes you may think, but I'm fine on my own. And yes, solitude can be healing too. Yet ask yourself gently, does my body feel lighter after I've spoken with someone? Do I sleep better when I've shared a laugh during the day? Do my thoughts feel calmer when I know someone will check in if they haven't seen me? These questions aren't about creating pressure, but about helping you notice the quiet truth your body has been whispering all along, that connection is medicine. So when you allow yourself to interact with those around you, remember it is not a small thing. It is not just a chat or just a hello. It is a way of nourishing your mind, your heart, and your health. And every time you open to that possibility, you are not only giving yourself a gift, you are offering healing to others as well. Trust with neighbors doesn't arrive all at once. It grows gently like a plant that needs steady care. At first, it may feel awkward to begin, especially if you've spent much of your life valuing privacy and independence. But think of trust as a bridge you build slowly, one stone at a time, until one day you find yourself walking across with ease. The first stone is often the simplest, a greeting. A smile, a nod, or a warm good morning is more powerful than it seems. It tells the other person, I see you, and I welcome this moment. From there, you might place the next stone by asking about something small and safe. Perhaps their flowers, the weather, or their pet. These light touches open space without demanding too much. When you feel comfortable, you can share a little piece of yourself. Maybe a short memory. When I was your age, I used to plant roses like those. Or a gentle comment about something you both notice in your shared environment. These offerings act like threads weaving a fabric of connection. Step by step, you can add more strength to that fabric. Perhaps you propose a tiny exchange, such as offering to water their plants if they're away, or sharing extra soup you've cooked. These gestures, however small, create a rhythm of giving and receiving. Each time you follow through, trust deepens because consistency is what tells others you are dependable and safe to lean on. Sometimes, of course, you may hesitate. You might wonder, what if they don't respond? That is natural. Trust is never built in a single day, and not every neighbor will be ready or open. But remember, you are not aiming for perfection. Even if one door doesn't open, another might. The act of reaching out itself softens your heart, and often that gentleness is felt more than words can express. If you ever feel uncertain, remind yourself that it's not about doing something big or impressive. It's about showing up, little by little, in ways that feel natural to you. Trust grows slowly, but once it takes root, it can hold surprising strength. So ask yourself quietly, what is one small stone you could place today? Could it be a smile, a simple question, or a short story from your past? Begin there and let the bridge form in its own time. There is a belief many of us grew up with that asking for help is a sign of weakness, that strength means carrying every burden alone. But over time, life teaches us something gentler and truer. Allowing others to help is not weakness at all. It is an act of courage, a recognition that dignity does not vanish when you lean on another. In fact, it often grows. When I was younger, I used to think that being self-sufficient was the highest form of independence. Now, at 78, I see independence differently. It is not about refusing help, but about choosing wisely how to give and receive. When a neighbor carries my groceries up the stairs, I don't feel diminished. Instead, I feel part of something larger, something that breathes life into ordinary days, a circle of support where kindness moves both ways. And when I share my own strength, whether it's offering advice, lending a tool, or simply listening with care, I become part of that same circle, reminding myself and others that we still have much to give. There is wisdom in recognizing that we are interdependent, not isolated islands. Think of the way trees grow in a forest. Their roots intertwine beneath the soil, sharing water and nutrients so that even the weaker ones stand tall. In the same way, we help each other weather storms. Sometimes the help is practical, checking in when someone hasn't been seen for a while, lending a hand with medicine or appointments. Other times it is deeply human, a shared meal, a story told, or the comfort of knowing someone cares. These are not trivial acts, they are the very fabric of a meaningful life. You might ask yourself gently, what holds me back from accepting help? Is it pride, habit, or simply the fear of being a burden?
And yet, isn't it true that when someone asks you for help, you feel honored, not burdened? When you receive, you allow another person the same gift, to feel useful, needed, and connected. That is not weakness. That is the exchange that keeps us human. As I reflect on these years, I see clearly that independence in later life does not mean walking alone. It means walking together, each of us lending and receiving as we are able. It means carrying one another so that none of us has to carry the full weight alone. If this touched you, stay connected, subscribe for more reflections, and tell me, what's one small way you've helped or been helped by a neighbor recently?